Good morning, all. Welcome to your favorite Mr. GST's lectures. We were discussing section 7, 8, and 10 in the last lecture. So we are done with supply, composite supply, and mixed supply, and we have discussed composition scheme, right? So today, let us move on to the topic returns, GST returns, right? Now, please understand why return filing is important in any taxation law. Obviously, you might have seen in your income tax, filing income tax returns, and in GST, of course, we are filing GST returns. In any taxation law, for that matter, filing returns is very, very important. Why? What is the relevance of this return? So please understand. I'm earning, let us say, for example, 1 lakh per annum. Let us assume. Only if I inform this to the income tax department that, sir, I am earning 1 lakh rupees per annum. So whatever is the tax liability, if at all payable, so take this, or if there is no tax liability, okay, fine. So like this, I should inform to the government. The data should flow from the public to the department, to the government, so that the government will use this data in some policy makings or anything else, right? So in preparing the budgets, etc. So not only in GST, not only in income tax, any taxation law for that matter, the data should flow from the taxpayer to the government so that the department will cross-verify whether this fellow is disclosing properly the information or not, whether he is evading any taxes or what. So what is the revenue from this particular nature of income or nature of supply, so that they will have their own budgetings and policy makings, all this stuff. The data will be useful for them. So return filing is very crucial in any taxation law for that matter, right? So with this background, let us understand in GST. In GST, obviously, you might have come across filing of returns, various returns. Like what and all the returns you have heard till date? In GST, what returns will file? What returns will file in GST?
GSTR1, GST3P, GSTR9, 9C. Final, GSTR10 for final return.
GSTR final return. GSTR4 for composition, taxpayers, right? So there are various returns. In our syllabus, we will be mainly focusing on GSTR1, 3B. And of course, there are some other returns also in syllabus, GSTR4, 5, and as you said, GSTR9, GSTR10, all this stuff. There are small topics, but mainly we'll be focusing on GSTR1 and 3B, right? So now first, let us understand how they have first framed the law. That means what was their intention, what was their idea of filing the returns, the department, how they have thought of implementing this. What is GSTR1, my dear friends?
Outward supply.
So you will be providing the details of your outward
supply.
What do you mean by outward supplies?
Sales.
In simple terms, we can say that sales. Right? Now, GSTR1 is all about giving your outward supplies details. That is your sales details, correct? So please understand, when the law was introduced, so what is the idea of the government? What is the idea of the government? See, there is a supplier. Supplier will give the details of his sales. Yes or no? Imagine every supplier filing his GSTR1. Filing his GSTR1. That means giving the details of the sales made by him. Vishnu is giving the details of sales made by him. Divakar is giving the sales details made by him. And Harini is giving her the sales, whatever she made. Same Ravichandran, Deepika, Ramya, everyone are filing their GSTR1. It means all are disclosing their sales details.
Yes.
When everyone is disclosing their sales details, that means automatically what? The purchase details are captured, or no?
Yes.
So if I am giving all my sales, automatically it is purchased to somebody. So that other person's purchase details are captured, right? So what the lawmakers has thought, first supplier has to file the return, GSTR1. So supplier will have the GST liability. Yes or no? So once this is done, obviously what happens now, the recipient purchase is being disclosed. The recipient's Purchase is being disclosed. So recipient can claim ITC of that, or no? Whether recipient is claiming ITC properly or not, a department cannot verify from each and every recipient whether he has availed ITC properly or not. So whatever the ITC is being taken by him, it should be cross-verified. To cross-verify that, human beings cannot help you. Why? Because the data is so huge, obviously the department doesn't have that much of manpower and we cannot do it in time. So obviously when human beings cannot do it, obviously how we will deal with it. So to help with this particular issue, we need help of
Softwares.
robot, right? So we need Chitti the robot, that is the information technology. So that Chitti robot is nothing but the GST portal, the website. Because all the suppliers are filing their GSTR1s, outward supplies, by filing the GSTR1, in case of B2B supply, the recipient will take ITC. Yeah? In case of B2B supply or B2C supply, in which case the recipient will take ITC?
B2B.
B2B.
B2C. Yeah?
B2B.
B2B. So in case of B2B supplies, the portal has designed the return in such a way where I am making a sale to Harini, let us assume. I will not say like Harini, sale 1 lakh, GST 18,000. That means who is Harini, like which Harini? Harini from Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Kerala, which place, like that. So the department cannot identify, the system cannot identify it, correct? So now what I will do, I will give GST registration number of Harini. And I will say, okay, this is the date of invoice, this is the value of invoice, this much of GST collected from her, and I am paying to you. Same way, Divakar, I will give Divakar GST number. What is the date of invoice? What is the value? What is the tax? CGST, how much? SGST, how much? IGST, how much? Like this, I will give the details. So automatically, what happens? Harini's and Divakar's GSTR 2A will get auto-populated. Hope you remember what is GSTR 2A. What is GSTR 2A, my dear friends? Auto-populated data of your inward supplies. In system, if you log into your GST system, obviously you get the registration and you will get the login ID and password in the GST portal. And when you log into the portal, obviously there will be an option for every month GSTR 2A. If you open that GSTR 2A, automatically it will show the purchases made by you. If at all your supplier has filed his GSTR1, if at all your supplier has filed his GSTR1, then your 2A will show the purchase. Now what I'll do, I made 100 purchases in this month. Let us say for March month, I made 100 purchases. But when I open my 2B, there are only 97 purchases reflected. 3 invoices are missing. Now what I will do? Law says whatever is there in 2A, you take. Don't take anything extra. Can I take anything extra?
No. 5%.
5% variation is fine. 5% variation is allowed. That should not exceed your actual eligible ITC. Correct?
Actually,
But what, as a business person, what you will do? You have 100 purchase invoice, but only 97 are showing in the portal. Immediately, what you will do?
We'll ask the customer to pay it.
Will call your supplier and say, you bloody buffalo, you collected GST from me and you didn't file GSTR1, and it is not showing in my 2A. That means supplier and recipient will be cross-checking with each other whether those people have paid GST properly or not. Yes or no? Department intervention need not happen here. That means that greatly department need not intervene and cross-check whether these people have availed ITC properly or not. Why? Because department is clear. If your supplier has paid tax, it will reflect in 2A. You take ITC, I don't have any problem. If you take more ITC, I will give you a notice. You come and give me the explanation. That's all. So now what happens automatically? It is like self-policing among the public, among the business people. The recipient will call the supplier and will cross-verify whether he has filed this GSTR1 or not. All the stuff will happen. Are you able to understand? That means here, wrong availment or misuse of this ITC concept can be reduced. Of course, still there are people in the market who are issuing fake invoices and giving the fake ITC. That's a different story. So the point is here, this is what they plan all about. Supplier, every supplier give your outward supply details. Automatically, when you are giving your outward supply details, that will be reflected in the recipient's GSTR 2A as a purchase. Only if it is reflected in his 2A, only if it is reflected in his 2A, he is allowed to take ITC. He is allowed to take ITC. So that recipient will cross-check with the supplier whether the supplier has filed his GSTR1 or not. If he has not filed, the recipient only will torture the supplier to file his GSTR1. Otherwise, you will not do business with him later on. Correct? So, no, so this is how the structure has been planned. Am I clear? So now what happens? I filed my GSTR1. I gave all the sales details. Now what I will do, my dear friends, I will open my GSTR2A because I might have made some purchases. So I will see all my purchases, what are there in GSTR2A. So I have shown my gross tax liability in my GSTR1. I know my ITC through GSTR2A. Now they have made 2B mandatory. So whatever is there in 2B that you should follow from 1st Jan 2022 as a new year offer. They said that 5% variation is also not allowed. Completely 0% variation. Whatever is there in 2B that you take. Right? That is not there for your attempt. Actually, that amendment is not there for your attempt. For you, the 5% variation is very much applicable. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Is that clear, my dear friends? Now, okay, I know my gross tax liability, filed a GSTR1. I know my ITC. How? How? Because
GST
2A, right? You have your gross tax liability and you have your ITC. What you will do now? Set off
Summarize it.
and see what is payable to the government. Correct?
Yes.
For that, what we will do? For that, what we will do later on? Sir, we will file a GSTR.
3B.
What is GSTR 3B? GSTR 3B is nothing but the summary of your outward supplies and ITC, and you will see what is the net tax payable. Pay the tax and close the return. Clear? That is what GSTR 1, 2A, and 3B. In 1, what you will show? You will show your gross tax liability. 2, what you will show? You will have your ITC, and whatever is there in your ITC that you should fill in your GSTR 3B. Please understand, whatever is there in your 2A, that will straight away not go to your credit ledger. That will straight away not go to your credit ledger. When it will go to credit ledger? Only if you fill the amount in 3B, then only it will go to the credit ledger.
Credit ledger. Afterwards, only we can.
You can make the payment. Payment, while making the payment, what you can do? You can either use the credit ledger balance or cash ledger balance.
That's it.
Clear? Shall we proceed? Now let us see the due dates for GSTR 1 and 3B. So we had the discussion of summary. Please understand one more thing. When you are filing the GSTR 1, obviously you know that, sir, how do you give the details in the return? There are 2 types of supplies, B2B supplies and B2C supplies. Correct? Look at this chart. So if it is a B2B supply, please understand, if it is a B2B supply, you should give invoice-wise details. No matter whether it is intrastate or interstate. No matter whether it is intrastate or interstate, you invoice-wise details. To whom you sold, what is the value, what is the date, what is the CGST, SGST, IGST components, you should definitely give, irrespective of the value of invoice, irrespective of the value of invoice. But if it is B2C supply, the B2C supply will take ITC, no. Then why should invoice-wise details? Now you are going to a restaurant, Sarvana Bhavan hotels. In Sarvana Bhavan hotels, all the customers are coming there, having food, and they are leaving, paying the GST, everything, and they are leaving. Now Sarvana Bhavan restaurant fellow should provide which person, like, okay, Divakar came today, early morning, had a coffee, 25 rupees, GST 5 rupees, like this. Should they disclose? What is the point? So instead of that, in case of B2C supply, what they say is, sir, if it is intrastate supply, what you should do? March month, how much sales? Sir, 10 lakh rupees sales. Sir. What is the GST? Sir, CGST this much, SGST this much. Pay and get lost. I don't want invoice-wise details. But if it is interstate sale, see, if the interstate sale invoice is more than 2,50,000 value, we call it as B2C large, not this large invoice, B2C large invoice. Clear? So B2C large and B2C others. So B2C large, what is that category? B2C large. B2C large is nothing but whatever the value more than 2,50,000 and only interstate supplies. Those invoices you should give invoice-wise details in the return. so that the department want the data of some large invoices. Remaining, you can give a consolidated figure. For example, I am in Tamil Nadu. I made interstate B2C supplies to Karnataka. March month, 10 lakh rupees. Okay. For Andhra Pradesh, 25 lakhs. For Rajasthan, I made 3 lakhs. For Maharashtra, I made 5 lakhs. Like this, state-wise, I can give the consolidated figure. Am I clear? But any invoice is more than 2,50,000. There will be a separate column called B2C large. In that, you should go and fill invoice-wise details. Clear? Shall we proceed? So that is how you have to present. This is just for general knowledge. Let us proceed. Let us proceed. Next. Now coming to the due dates for GSTR1 and 3B. So if the invoice value, each invoice value, if one single invoice value is more than 2,50,000, even though it is a B2C supply, but it is interstate, that means separately give those details. That invoice details give separately. For all other remaining B2C supplies, you give a consolidated figure state-wise, rate-wise, state-wise, rate-wise. 18% sales, how much you made, 12% sales, how much you made, 5% sales, how much you made. Like that, rate-wise consolidated figure you can use, state-wise, rate-wise. Shall we proceed? That is what? How you give the details in GSTR1. Now, what is the due date? What is the due date here? Now, please understand. Here, we'll talk together about GSTR1 and 3B, my dear friends. Let us talk, because already you know what is 1, 3B in detail, because we are revising. Now, let us just summarize both GSTR1 and 3B with a QRMP scheme. Have you heard about QRMP scheme?
Yes, sir.
Quarterly return and monthly payment scheme. Now, let us just consolidate GSTR1 and 3B due dates. GSTR1 and 3B due dates. One second. So GSTR1 and 3B due dates, if you see, don't copy, ma. First, let me finish, then you copy, because I may change here and there the presentation. So, QRMP scheme is one thing, and for taxpayers under QRMP scheme and others. If you are under QRMP scheme, what is the procedure that we'll see? And if you are not under QRMP scheme, if the taxpayer is not opting QRMP scheme, of course, QRMP scheme is an optional one. If you are going with that, what are the due dates, how it will be, that we will see. If you are not under QRMP scheme, how it will be there, we will see. Let us go with first others. Simple, we will finish it off. Who are not under QRMP scheme? Who are not under QRMP scheme? What should they do? So they should file GSTR1 and GSTR3B. GSTR1 and GSTR3B. You know what is 1 and what is 3B, correct? Again, I need not explain it. So GSTR1, you know, 3B, you know. So they have to file 1 and 3B. When they have to file, sir, what is the periodicity? What is the periodicity? Should they file it monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly? GSTR1 monthly. What about GSTR3B? What about GSTR3B?
Monthly.
We are not under QRMP scheme. This is for others who are not under QRMP scheme. Who are
Okay.
not under QRMP scheme. Clear? So monthly, 1 and 3B monthly. What is the due date when GSTR1 should be filed?
13th of February.
11th.
So
11th of.
it is 11th of next month.
Yes, sir.
11th of next month. Clear? What about 3B? What about GSTR 3B? When I should file, what is the due date?
20th of next month.
What is the due date?
21st.
20th or 21st or 22nd or 24th or 25th or 22nd.
20th.
22 or 24.
20.
Okay, 20th of next month.
Yes, sir.
Is the font size visible, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
First, you are able to understand the font. Huh?
Hope so, sir.
Hope so. Right. So 20th of next month. Is that clear? So this is simple. This is simple, guys. But the lawmakers thought of this to simplify this even further, and they brought a scheme called QRMP scheme. And I will explain you the QRMP scheme, and you will understand how simple it is actually. Let us go with QRMP scheme. First, before going to QRMP scheme, let us understand what is QRMP scheme. Clear? What is QRMP scheme? Let us understand. What is the full form? Quarterly return, monthly payment. First, to whom this option is available? First, to whom this option is available?
Composition.
Available? Sir, to small taxpayers. Who are small taxpayers according to you? So,
Not greater than 50 lakhs each.
registered persons aggregate turnover not exceeding 5 crores
Exceeding 5 crores.
preceding financial year can opt. That means it is optional. It is optional, not mandatory. Okay. Shall we proceed? So, aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year, if it has not exceeded 5 crore rupees, you are eligible for QRMP scheme. If you want to opt, you can opt for it, or else you can go with the normal thing. Clear? Shall we proceed?
Sure.
Yes. So, in this scheme, what you have to do, sir, if you are under QRMP scheme, you have to file quarterly returns and you should pay tax monthly. If you are giving the written data quarterly, also fine, but give me money monthly. That is what they say. Clear?
25%.
So who are eligible? Who are eligible for the scheme? Only those whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year doesn't exceed 5 crore rupees. So I just wanted to tell you who are eligible for this scheme. So we have discussed. Clear? So what should they do? If they have opted for QRMP scheme, what should they do? Sir, if they have opted for QRMP scheme, please understand. If they have opted for QRMP scheme, if they are opting for QRMP scheme. So what is that? First they have GSTR1 and GSTR3 be correct? No, please understand. Please understand. In a quarter, how many months you have? How many months you have?
3 months.
Okay. So please understand. First month, second month, and third month. What they should do? Or we can take it this way. First and second month they should follow something. Third month they should follow something. Clear up?
Yes.
For the first 2 months. After first and second month, after first and second month, after third month of quarter. What should they do? What should they do? So after first and second month in quarter, what should they do? Sir, you have to file GSTR1 quarterly.
Yes, sir.
GSTR3B also quarterly.
Yes, sir.
You are filing GSTR1 quarterly. Let us assume your B2B supplies will be reported after the end of the quarter. Yes or no? Your B2B supplies also you will give in GSTR1 only, no? Your outward supplies, when your sales are reported quarterly basis, what about your customer? He will get ITC only after the quarter.
Yes.
That means it is a disadvantage for him.
Yes.
If you are giving me credit after 3 months, why should I purchase goods from you? I will go with some other person who is filing the returns on monthly basis. I want ITC on monthly basis. So I will not do business with you. That means your recipient, your customer will not get ITC immediately. He will get only after 3 months. He will get only after 3 months.
3 months.
So that is a disadvantage for you. He will not be encouraged to do business with you. So government came up with an option. What is that option now? See, for first 2 months, you file something called IFF. File something called IFF. That is invoice furnishing facility.
Okay.
Invoice furnishing facility.
Furnishing.
Now, your worry is about B2B transactions or B2C transactions.
B2B transactions.
B2B transactions. So what they say, for first 2 months, first month and second month, you upload your B2B
Transactions.
outward
Outward
supply.
supply.
Using what?
IFF.
Using IFF. And this is available when? On or before? 13th of next month. 13th of next month. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
For first 2 months, what I will do? After first month, next month 13th, before next month 13th, I will file all B2B supplies alone using IFF.
Okay.
So that my customer also will get ITC.
Okay.
I will not be at risk. Am I clear? Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
After third month, what you will do? First month,
My Gstr1.
yeah, this is April to June quarter. Listen carefully, everyone. Listen
Yes,
carefully. This is April quarter, April to June quarter. April month. After April month, what I will do? Whatever the B2B supplies in April, when I should file?
June 30th. Before June. Or before June.
May.
After April, what is the next month?
April. May. Okay.
What you should do? Before May
13th.
30th.
May 13th, what you should do? Upload all B2B supplies. So that your customer also will get ITC. So he is also happy, you are also happy. Whether you are happy or not, it doesn't matter. Your customer is happy. Right? So that we will do. After May, what I will do? Whatever May invoices are there, B2B invoices, again. What I should
June
do?
13th.
June 13th.
On or before June 13th.
Using what? Using what?
IFF.
Over. First 2 months over. Third month,
Yes, sir.
quarter, third month. What is that?
June.
June. After that, what I will do? For April, May,
Gstr1.
June. April, May, June. First 2 months you filed IFF.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You left B2C supplies there.
Yes, sir.
Close those B2C supplies. Suppose you forgot some B2B supplies first 2 months. That also you can disclose. Third month you made B2B supplies, B2C supplies, all put together. What you should do? You should file GSTR1 for what period?
April to June. Quarter 1.
Exactly, for the whole
Quarter.
quarter. When?
30th.
On or
18th.
before
18th.
13th.
13th.
On or before 13th. On or before 13th
13th.
of the next month
Next.
succeeding the quarter. Clear? When the quarter over? April to June. June. Next month 13th. What is it? June?
July.
Sorry,
July.
July 13th. July 13 will be the due date. Clear? Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I'm summarizing the concept. Ma? So that again in detail for IFF there are some conditions that and all we'll see. But I'm just summarizing the concept so that we'll have the clarity. Am I clear? Am I clear? So this is fine. We are giving the sales details. And please understand that should I follow compulsory IFF? Should I compulsory use IFF? It is your will and wish. If you don't want to use IFF, only after the quarter use GSTR1. Nobody is stopping you. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? Now, sir, GSTR1 is fine, sir. What should I do with the GSTR3B? Using GSTR3B, what you will be doing normally? Normally, what you are doing? Why you are
Outward
using
financial.
GSTR3B? Why you are using
Setting of outward and inward supplies.
And why do I set off this
To
outward
pay
and
tax.
inward?
claim.
Pay tax. Pay tax. 3B is mainly for paying taxes. The agenda of 3B is mainly to pay taxes.
Taxes.
Yes. So using 3B, you are paying taxes. You are sure about it, correct?
Yes.
Now, using 3B, you are paying taxes. But now you said quarterly return. 3B also a return. You can file it quarterly. But why I need monthly payment? No, I need
Monthly.
payment. So 3B also quarterly you should file. But actually the law says monthly you should make the payment. Monthly you should make the payment. So what they said, after first month and second month, that means for first month, for second month, you have one option, same option. What is that? For first month and second month, the option is please pay taxes using PMT 06. PMT 06.
06.
You have to pay the taxes using PMT 06.
PMT
What is the due
06.
date? What is the due date?
20th.
When? On or before?
20th.
On or before? Everyone. On or before?
20th, sir.
Second.
Yes, 25th of next month. Clear up? Not 20th, it is 25th. It is 25th. Clear, guys? That means April to June example we are discussing. For April tax liability, how should I discharge April tax liability? When? May 25th. On or before May 25th. May month liability?
On or before.
On or before?
June.
June.
On or before? June 25th.
25th June.
Clear? What about June? For June, it is altogether what? A quarter over. So what should I do?
Gst 3B order.
Again, pay taxes. How do you pay? Using
3B.
using
3.
GSTR 3B. When I should file that? On or before? On or before?
Of
20th?
22nd.
25th?
22nd.
Adira says 22nd confidently. 22nd. On or before 22nd or 24th, as the case may be. As the case may be. Clear? So we'll discuss in detail. Don't worry. We are just summarizing the concept so that we have clarity. Fine. You are able to understand, guys, what is QRMP scheme. So in QRMP scheme, mainly we are focusing on GSTR1 and 3B to be filed quarterly, correct? But if you are filing quarterly GSTR1 and GSTR3B, if you are filing GSTR1 quarterly, there is a disadvantage for you regarding your business. Your customers will not get ITC immediately. So we came up with an option. What is that?
IFF.
IFF.
So file IFF. Using that IFF, what you will do? Upload only B2B supplies. so that your customer also will get ITC. So you need not worry. And GSTR 3B, if you are filing quarterly, who is worried? Government is worried because tax is paid on quarterly basis, correct? I don't want that. I want monthly tax. So government came up with one more option. What is that?
PMT06 channel.
Pay taxes on monthly basis using PMT06 challan. Clear?
Yes.
So what is the due date for that? We have seen. IFF is optional or mandatory?
Optional.
Optional.
PMT06 is optional or mandatory?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. Clear? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Now, please understand. Here, when you are paying taxes, taxes using PMT06, you have two methods. Exactly, you have two methods to make the payment. What are those two methods to make the payment, my dear friends?
Fixed sum method.
Fixed sum method and self-assessment method. So, one is fixed sum method. One is fixed sum method. The other is self-assessment. The other one is self-assessment method. Is that clear? Is that clear? How do you pay the tax? Using either fixed sum method or self-assessment method. In case of fixed sum method, listen carefully, guys. You have everything, the notes properly explained in the handout. I will share it. But let us discuss the concept here itself. Let us summarize and discuss the concept here itself so that we'll have a clarity. If I go through first 3 GSTR1 separately, all the stuff, we'll not be able to visualize it. So this will help you, the flowchart will help you to visualize at least a little bit and understand properly. So the amount of confusion will be reduced. So yes, GSTR1, I don't have any worries. IFF, I'll upload. B2B invoices, it is optional. If I forget any invoice, I will file in GSTR1, simple math forward. But monthly paying taxes, I will pay by using PMT06. And there also government came up with two options for me. Either I can use fixed sum method or I can use self-assessment method. What do you mean by fixed sum method? Sir, fixed sum method means system only will calculate how much we have to pay GST. The system itself will show how much GST you have to pay. How system will show, sir? System will see what is your previous tax period liability that you paid in cash. Now we are in which quarter now? We are in April to June quarter, correct? So first April month I am paying tax using PMT06. Which method I am going? Let us assume I am going with fixed sum method. Let us assume I am going with fixed sum method. When I am going with fixed sum method, please tell me, the system will automatically calculate the tax liability. How the system will calculate? The system will calculate in such a way where, see, first what system will see is previous tax period is what for you. Earlier, I might be paying tax on quarterly basis, like I may be under QRMT scheme, or I might be under monthly scheme, yes or no? Let us assume I was paying on monthly basis. Let us assume my GSTR 3B was filed on monthly basis. What was my last tax period now? Listen carefully. What was my last tax period? March. For March month, how much tax you paid in cash using cash ledger? Let us assume 100 rupees I have paid. 100 rupees I have paid. Now you are in quarter April to June. So March monthly payment, no, that was monthly. How much you paid? 100 rupees cash. So for April also, what the system will say? System will show 100 rupees tax liability to be paid in cash.
Okay.
Later on, after the end of the quarter, you can make the adjustments. That's the difference. But initially, what the system will say, last month, how much you paid? 100 you paid, no, in cash. This month also, let us proceed the same trend. Let us follow the same trend. Am I clear? Sir, suppose last tax period, I was filing this GSTR 3B on quarterly basis. That means January to March, I have filed. In January to March GSTR 3B, how much you paid using cash ledger? How much you have paid using cash ledger? Let us assume, sir, I have paid using cash ledger 100 rupees, sir. This is for what period?
January to March.
3 months period, correct? January to March. 3 months period. So for April, can I take the same 100 rupees? Earlier, 100 rupees was paid for 3 months. Now it is only for 1 month I should pay using PMT06. How much I should pay? Logically speaking,
35 rupees max.
33.33, correct? But the law said pay 35%.
Okay.
First month pay 35%, second month pay 35%. Whatever is balance, adjust after the end of the quarter. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? Shall we proceed now?
Yes, sir.
Shall we proceed? Right. Now, sir, if my last tax payment period was monthly, what should I do? Last month, how much you paid in cash? Same amount first month you pay. Same amount second month you pay. After the third month, you have GSTR1, GSTR3B. Balance, you just discharge your tax liability and get lost. Clear? Clear? Understood? That is what? Fixed sum method. That is what? Fixed sum method. What do you mean by self-assessment method then? What do you mean by self-assessment method then?
We ourselves will compare.
That means yes, you decide how much to be paid. You pay it and close. In PMT06, what do you feel? Sir, this month I made 1 lakh sales, 75,000 purchase, tax liability. Okay, 4,000, sir. You pay that 4,000 and come. Second month you thought like, okay, these are my sales, these are my purchases, output minus input. Okay, I should pay 6,000. Pay 6,000 and come out. Are you able to understand? Self-assessment method means you have your sales details, you have your purchase details, you decide how much to be paid, you pay it and come out. But if you select fixed sum method, you need not touch the figures there. Automatically it is pre-filled. You can pay and come out. Am I clear? Shall we proceed? And so that is what? QRMP scheme. Now tell me which scheme is simple, which one is easy? Going with QRMP or without QRMP?
Without QRMP.
QRMP.
No, please understand. When you come with QRMP, why you are coming with QRMP? Because monthly I am having some task to do and government want to reduce this responsibility and give the responsibility on quarterly basis so that the taxpayer can relax. Correct? When I'm not going with QRMP, monthly I was filing GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Okay. But when I come with QRMP, what? No, am I doing only the assignment on quarterly basis? Government is coming like a big boss and giving me task each and every month. It says file IFF, it says file PMT06, pay taxes. And again, if you see, when I'm paying taxes on monthly basis, for PMT06, it is 25th due date. Again, for GSTR3B, it is 22nd or 24. What is this 22nd or 24? You know, it is based upon which state you are located. See, for all these northeastern states, we can just say for northeastern states, for these states which are highlighted in orange, so it is 24th. For these states which are highlighted in blue color, it is 22nd. Such a simple procedure, right? QRMP scheme, very easy. So please understand. Normally for others, what? For others, what who are not under QRMP scheme, no matter which state you are, it is 20th. But for these people, who are there in this northeastern states like this, Rajasthan, Jammu, Haryana, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, all these states, Orissa, all these states and all. So it is 24th.
It means that states are the place of supplier, sir.
There you are registered. Where is your GSTIN? That it is not about place of supply. It is about you, where you are registered. You are registered in West Bengal. Then for you, this 24th. You are registered in Tamil Nadu. Then for you, it is 22nd. Is it clear?
Okay.
So based upon where you got the registration, not about the place of supply. If that is place of supply, I have customers somewhere around 10 states. There will be 10 different place of supplies. Then what shall we do? Yeah.
Yes.
Fine. Okay. Okay. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? Is that clear? Shall we proceed? And one more interesting thing here is look at this related to IFF. Related to IFF. Sir, it is not mandatory to follow all the stuff we know. Here, one interesting point is IFF can be used only to upload invoices up to value of 50 lakh in each of first 2 months electronically. If you see generally for certain people, based upon certain seasons, the sales will be high. Right? For example, if it is a marketing company, for them during the year ending, the other companies will have the targets, they will approach these people will do the marketing, campaigns, promotions, all the stuff. So Jan to March, their sales will be high, but remaining periods it will be low. That means Jan, March quarter, first month and second month, what I can do, I can use IFF to upload B2B invoices maximum to the worth of 50 lakh rupees. What if my supplies are more than that? I cannot upload them using IFF. Are you able to understand? Their logic is simple, man. Their logic is you can go for QRMP scheme only if your aggregate turnover not exceeded in the preceding financial year. It means obviously your monthly turnover, if you see, it will be somewhere around 40 lakhs. I'm giving you monthly 50 lakhs option, no? That is what government's logic. Clear? Fine. So instead of all this confusions, you happily go with normal scheme. Don't follow QRMP. Simple. But because it is there in our syllabus, we should definitely understand what is QRMP scheme and hope you are clear with this. Shall we proceed? Am I clear? Is the font size visible, ma? Please copy this alone, guys. Is the font visible? Okay, first copy this part alone. First copy this side, the others part, which is not under QRMP scheme. First copy that, then we'll copy QRMP scheme. Hope it is clear, the QRMP scheme. Shall we proceed? Right. So let us see any other points missed out. So please be clear with the due dates, my dear friends. Due dates. In normal cases, other than QRMP scheme, GSTR1, what is the due date? 11th of the next month. GSTR3B, what is the due date? 20th of the next month. But if you are under QRMP scheme, sir, first 2 months I will file IFF and next after the quarter I will file GSTR1. First 2 months I will go with PMT06 and then after the quarter I will file GSTR3B. For IFF, what is the due date? 13th of the next month, 13th of the next month. Next GSTR1 also 13th of the next month. For PMT06, first month, the due date is next month 25th. Second month, the next due date is the next month 25th. And for the quarter ended, GSTR3B, what is the due date? That next month after following the quarter, 22nd or 24th, based upon in which state you are registered. Clear? And using IFF, I can upload only B2B invoices, not B2C. And there to B2B invoices, 50 lakhs in each month. Yes, sir. Right. So that is what QRMP scheme all about. Who are ineligible to file GSTR1 or IFF? Please understand, if he has not furnished the GSTR3B for preceding 2 months, Last 2 months GSTR 3B if you have not filed, now currently GSTR1 you cannot file, or IFF you cannot file, or not furnish GSTR 3B for the preceding tax period. If you are under QRMP scheme, what is the preceding tax period? The quarter. For that quarter, if you have not filed GSTR 3B, current GSTR1 or IFF you cannot file. Clear? And to whom Rule 86B applies and has not furnished GSTR 3B for preceding tax period, then also you cannot file GSTR1 or IFF. These are the points or situations where you cannot file GSTR1. You are not allowed to file GSTR1. When, sir, if you are not under QRMP scheme, last 2 months 3B not filed. If you are under QRMP scheme, last 3B not filed. Last 3B means what? Last tax period is quarter for you. That 3B you have not filed. Or, sir, leave about whether I am under QRMP or not. For me, Rule 86B is applicable. For me, Rule 86B is applicable now. Last tax period, listen carefully, this is tax period, not month or quarter, because for you tax period can be month or can be quarter. Correct? So last tax period 3B if you are not filed, then also you cannot go with filing GSTR1 or IFF. Is that clear? Next. GSTR 2A I have already explained you. 2B it is a static information. 2A will keep on updating on real-time basis. For you, for time being, 2A is sufficient. Just go through once the differences between 2A and 2B. That's sufficient. We have seen the due dates. Right. Let us move on to GSTR 4, my dear friends. GSTR 4. What is GSTR 4? Who has to file GSTR 4? Who has to file GSTR 4? I asked you who has to file GSTR.
Composition.
Person going with composition scheme. When he should file monthly or quarterly?
Quarterly.
Monthly or quarterly?
Quarterly, sir.
Quarterly.
GSTR 4. GSTR 4. GSTR 4 should be filed annually.
Yes, sir.
There was a concept of quarterly. Later on, it got amended and they made it yearly. So please understand, for composition taxpayer, GSTR 4 should be filed on yearly basis. GST CMP 08 should be filed on quarterly basis. Why? Because GSTR 4 you are filing on annual basis. GSTR 4 you file on yearly basis. But what about taxes? Taxes you should pay quarterly. For that we are coming up with a concept called GST CMP 08. You composition taxpayer file GST CMP 08, pay taxes on quarterly basis, but file the return on yearly basis GSTR 4. What is the due date for GSTR 4, my dear friends? 30th April of the succeeding financial year. Just now 21-22 financial year over. For that you have to file GSTR 4. What is the due date? 30th April 2022. Clear? But I should file CMP 08 on quarterly basis, pay taxes on quarterly basis. What is the due date for that? What is the due date for that? The due date is the next month, 18th of the end of the quarter, after the end of the quarter, or succeeding of every quarter, 18th. 18th of the month succeeding every such quarter. Clear? Fine. Next, there is one more written in our syllabus, that is GSTR 5. What is GSTR 5, my dear friends? Who has to file it? Who has to file it?
Non-resident tax.
For NRTP, non-resident taxable payer. Clear? So who has to file this? Non-resident taxable person. What is the periodicity, my dear friends? Monthly, quarterly, half yearly? Monthly, quarterly, half yearly. It is monthly return. It is monthly return. What is the due date? What is the due date? So the due date is 20th of the month, or 7 days after the expiry of registration, whichever is earlier. Please understand, non-resident taxable person, they will apply for registration for some validity, 10 days, 20 days, 90 days, correct?
Yes.
Let us assume the registration validity is expiring on May 10th. For May 1st to May 10th, he should file GSTR 5. May 1st to May 10th, whatever the transactions happen, further he has to file GSTR 5. What is the due date for normally GSTR 5? Next month 20th. So that means till June 20th, can we wait? His registration is already expired. So 20th of the next month, the succeeding month, that is 20th June, or when the registration got expired, 10th May. From that within 7 days. That means the 17th May.
17th May.
Whichever is earlier. Which is earlier?
17th May.
17th May.
17th May is the deadline.
Okay.
Clear? Are you able to understand? For a non-resident taxable person only, the due date you have to compare two things. What are those? 20th of the succeeding month or 7 days from the expiry of the registration, whichever is
Earlier.
yes, that is what the point. Next. First, do you remember who has to file GSTR1?
Supplier.
Normal taxpayers.
Normal taxpayers, including casual taxable person. Casual taxable person, other than composition taxpayer, other than non-resident taxable person, other than input service distributor, other than TDS, TCS registered persons. Next, other than e-commerce operator, all this stuff. So the point is, those who have to file GSTR1, same people have to file GSTR3B also. Same people have to file GSTR9 also. 9 also. 1, 3B and 9. Yeah. So who has to file that? Registered person other than IST, TDS, TCS taxpayer, supplier of ODA services, casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. Other than these people. For casual taxable person also this GSTR 9 is not applicable. 9 is not applicable. Why? Because for him validity only maximum 90 days, no? Or another 90 days. There is no point of asking him to file an annual return.
Yes.
Clear? So others have to file the annual return. What is the deadline for filing the annual return, my dear friends?
31st
31st December of the succeeding financial year. So long in our ITC chapter there and all we have discussed date of filing annual return, date of filing annual return. Do you remember? We didn't discuss their due date. There it was actual date of filing annual return.
Okay.
But here it is
Due date of filing.
due date of filing annual return. So due date of filing annual return is what? 31st December of the
31st December.
financial year. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So that is what. And the GSTR 9A is just another annual return filed by to be filed by composition taxpayer. And GSTR 10. What is GSTR 10? Ma?
Final
GSTR 10 is
return.
the final return.
Return.
GSTR 10 is the final return.
Final.
What is this final return, sir? The moment your registration is surrendered by you or cancelled by the department. Either your registration is surrendered or your registration has been cancelled. In such cases, what you should do? Okay, you should say Tata, bye bye, goodbye to the department, so that you have to file
GSTR
a final return. Clear? So, what is the deadline to file this final return, my dear friends?
Within 3
months from the date of cancellation.
Within 3
or
months from
order
the date
of
of cancellation or date of order of cancellation.
order
later.
later.
Why? Because cancellation order may come today, but the effective date of cancellation is a previous date.
Okay.
So the effective date of cancellation can be decided by the proper officer. He may be passing the order today, but he may say that your cancellation is effective from a previous date, let us say January 1st. January 1st or date of order. What is the date of order? 24th April, whichever is
Later.
later. From that date, within 3 months, you have to file GSTR 10, the final. Clear? Am I clear? So what details you will give in the final return? You will give the details of any stock you are having, any inputs or capital goods still lying with you. So those details you will give, and the department will see. So already you have some stock with you on which you have availed ITC. Now you are not going to use it for business purpose. So they will ask you to reverse the ITC. So they will ask you to make certain payments and will decide what is your liability now. So if they ask you to pay something, you have to pay that and close the issue. Or if they see that there are no other liabilities, they will pass the order that determining there is no liability at all. Clear? Shall we proceed? So GSTR 10 is the final return. This is nothing but giving the details of your stock, capital goods lying with you on which you have availed ITC. And this final return should be filed within 3 months from the date of cancellation or date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. When this final return will come into picture, so this will come into picture when your registration is surrendered by you on your own or it is cancelled by the department. Clear? Shall we proceed? So that is what GSTR 10 final return. Okay. Next, refund claim. GSTR 11 is a refund claim. You can just go through that. Those who are holding this UIN, you remember UIN, unique identity number, given to international agencies so that they can file a refund claim of notified purchases. So we have discussed in chapter 7 registration. Okay. Even if you don't remember, not an issue. Ignore it. And first return. What is this first return? So first return is nothing but after getting yourself registered under GST. Do you remember anything called revised tax invoice? When revised tax invoice will come into picture? Do you remember
When we
effective date of
cross our
registration? Effective date of registration. So in case of effective date of registration, we have seen effective date of registration and actually getting registration certificate, there is a time gap. During that period, you might have made some supplies for which you have not given a tax invoice because you don't know your GST registration number, your GSTIN. So those invoices are normal invoices, but the law permits you to revise them and convert them into tax invoice. That is what we call revised tax invoice. So those revised tax invoice details you can give and file a return called first return. Shall we proceed? So just go through the summary once. May be tested, may be tested. What is the first return? Fine. Now let us see something important, and there is an amendment also here. Section 47, let us focus, the late fees. The late fees for delay in filing of returns. Generally, the late fees for delay in filing of returns, this GSTR 1 or 3B or 4, all the stuff, even GSTR 10. What is the late fee, my dear friends? What is the late fee? The late fee is 100 rupees per day or 5,000 rupees, whichever is less. It is for GSTR 1, 2, 3B. Now there is no 2 obviously, so ignore it. You can ignore it. GSTR 1, GSTR 3B, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, all this stuff. So for all these returns, there is a late fee. What is the late fee amount?
100 rupees every day.
100 rupees per day or 5,000, whichever is
Lower.
But this is as per CGST Act.
Hmm.
Same late fees you will see in SGST Act. That means what is the total late fees? 200 rupees per day. 200 rupees per day or
10,000 whichever is lower.
10,000, whichever is less. It means maximum 10,000. Clear?
Okay.
Maximum 10,000. But now government, because of notifications during this COVID, they have waived off this late fees for certain periods and for certain taxpayers. Clear?
Yes.
And also they brought some other waivers, like partial waivers. Like now what they do, they won't charge 200 per day. The government is charging only 50 rupees per day, 25 rupees CGST, 25 rupees SGST. In case of normal returns. If at all you don't have any supplies, you should file a nil return at least, yes or no? The moment you take GST registration, if you are doing business or not, it doesn't matter, you should file the returns.
Yes.
If there is no business, no sales, nothing, file a nil return. Either it can be GSTR 1, 3B or anything, file a nil return at least. CMP 08, file a nil return if there are no supplies. Am I clear? Am I clear? So if it is a nil return, 20 rupees per day they are charging late fees. 10 rupees CGST, 10 rupees SGST. But in law, what is the power given to the government? How much they can charge? 100 rupees and 100 rupees. Or 10,000. Whichever is
Lower.
less.
Lower.
Whichever is less. Is that clear? Section 47, the late fees, 100, 100, 200. Or 5,000 plus 5,000, 10,000. Whichever is less. That means maximum 10,000 you should pay. Clear? That is what section 47 says, late fees. But if it is an annual return, what is the late fees, my dear friends? Same story, 100 rupees per day. Or here you are comparing what?
Turnover.
Turnover.
5% of the turnover, whichever is less. That means here 0.25% is GST 0.25%. Total what?
0.5.
200 per day or
Or 0.5
0.5% of
turnover.
turnover. Is it clear? Is that clear? Shall we proceed? So that is what the late fees. So related to this, there is an amendment. After the concept is done, everything, all amendments put together, there are some small amendments. We'll discuss that together. Fine. Is that clear? This is what all about returns chapter. There is a last concept called GST practitioner. You can just go through that. Who is the GST practitioner? GST practitioner is a certificate provided by the government where you can provide various services to the clients. You can file the GST returns, you can go for a registration, you can file refund claims, all the stuff. All this stuff even you can do, but the biggest advantage for GST practitioner is this. What is that? You can act as an authorized representative for the taxpayer before whom? Before any officer of the department. Not only before any officer of the department, but also before appellate authority or appellate tribunal. That means if you are a GST practitioner, you can represent your client till the tribunal level. That is the advantage available for GST practitioner. Remaining things what? Filing e-way bill, filing the returns, filing refund claim, filing registration application, all this stuff. This anybody you can. It is not exclusively for GST practitioner. One more advantage is, listen carefully. Normally what? To file your GST returns, I should log into your portal. Here I should log into your portal. I should have your user ID and password. But if I am a GST practitioner, please understand. In your portal, there will be an option called Add GST Practitioner. If you are adding me as a GST practitioner, let us assume here those who are there, they're adding me as a GST practitioner in their account. Now, what I can do, I can log into my own account and I can file your returns.
Okay.
That means I need not have multiple login details of the clients. That is one simple advantage there. Fine. Am I clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
So who can become a GST practitioner? Who can become a GST practitioner? See, for becoming a GST practitioner, you should be an Indian citizen. You should be a sound mind. You should be not decided, adjudicated as an insolvent, and you are not convicted by a competent court. Clear? Fine. These are general basic conditions. And you have additional conditions. What are those? Number one, you should be a retired officer of commercial tax department of any state government or CBIC during the service where you have worked in a post not lower than the rank of Group B Gst officer. It means at least in the state government taxes department or indirect tax department or central government indirect tax department, you should have worked for at least 2 years. In which rank? Group B Gst officer. Clear? Or you have enrolled as a sales tax practitioner, just like GST. Before there was sales tax, no? So there was also concept called sales tax practitioner and previous tax laws. And there was a concept called service tax return preparer under service tax law. So either you have acted as a sales tax practitioner or a service tax return preparer for at least a period of not less than 5 years. Now you tell me, for people like you and me, whether we have any chance here. No. So they came up with another option. What is that? Or okay, or what you can do, you should be possessing any prescribed qualifications. What are the prescribed qualifications? Simple, either you should be a graduate or postgraduate, or at least you should have passed the CA final exam or CS final exam or CMA final exam. So then you can go with this, or any other exam notified by the department. If you have that qualifications, you can apply for GST practitioner. And even when you apply for GST practitioner also, they will conduct some exam and that you have to qualify. First, with the qualification, whatever you have, they will give you the GST practitioner certificate, but there is a time limit like 30 months, I guess. Within that time limit, you have to write the exam and clear it. Am I clear? So that is what the concept of GST practitioner, and this is what all about chapter number 10, GST Returns. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.